Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of T.N.T. Garage and Performance. And in this week's video, we took the Checker on power tour. And obviously it's back at a garage, so it made it home somehow. But you're going to have to watch the video to see if we had any issues with this old girl that at one point was rusted pretty much in half and put back together with a bunch of steel, and not to mention all expenses spared. So let's jump into this video that's kind of my perspective of power tour. We're going to see some cool things along the way. I didn't catch everything maybe that I caught last year, because this year I get to take my son with me on power tour, and I wanted to spend as much time as I could enjoying that with him. So I grabbed some snippets of some stuff I thought was pretty cool. We got some road footage and all that, and you'll see just how this car did on a 1,400 mile plus road trip. So let's get to it. We made it to Indy. It's time for Hot Rod Power Tour. We're gonna go get registered, and well, all I could say is the Checker made it. So let's get to it. Well, it's officially day one. We got our windshield sticker. The car made it. Transmission didn't explode. And right before we took off, I sound deadened the firewall. We got carpet and the whole thing, so it looks pretty good. We're all loaded up. The trunk is packed with stuff, but we made it to stop one, Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. And honestly, other than burning a little oil in this 350, which I figured dingle ball rebuild, we are getting 14.5 miles to the gallon running the interstate the whole way here, running 2,800 to 3,000 RPM at 68-ish miles an hour. So that's pretty good. I did rejet the carbs. I put the 58s back in it, and as it warms up, that'll be perfect. It seemed a little lean this morning, but it was pretty cold and it had just rained. So if you guys are wondering about the metal underneath being raw and driving in the rain, don't worry. I just soaked the entire bottom of the car in WD-40, so it's not going to rust. But, you know, we've got that going for us. Hopefully it makes it through the whole week. And there's already a pile of people here. We just registered. It's a little after 9 o'clock. And it's going to be a hell of a trip. I got my boy with me this time. Yeah. Very good. That thing is cool. I like it. Galaxy 64, I think. 70. Sure then. He might have been, because he is from Madison. It's a stick, pistol grip. Wedge motor.
It's all C5 underneath.
It's a stick. Guess it's cool. Yeah, it is a Laguna. Yeah, it's 2 S10s. $6.5 in it. 10-1. 11-8. Nice. The Buick's actually moving. Seven, 3. Oh, he's pulling him. I don't think he's gonna get him. He's good. Wow. It's great.
Oh, he got it. There you go. There you go.
What the hell was he doing? Yeah, take your time getting to the big end, fella. That's cool. Old school, like, golf cart runabout thing. I always thought about doing a dual throttle body setup like this. I really dig that.
Oh, he's got a little V6.
Oh yeah, like the V8. Let's get a shot of that. That is cool. Nothing wrong with building a V6. Look at that pinstripe on the dash. The old school gauges in it. That I dig it. White Wall Steve. Because why could they wait till after Power Tour to work on the road up there? Thanks, Michigan. I guess I was wrong. I'm not the only checker marathon on Power Tour. What are the odds we run into an actual 811 taxi? This is what my car is supposed to look like. That's a newer one. What's that? successfully. And the only issue we had was these shock mount tabs, which I'll try to get you in there. The tabs broke above my welds and, caused some problems. So we had some tire rub. That wasn't great. So I just kind of jammed it up on the jagged edge and ratchet strapped that side in. And then we made it all the way back to Illinois. And this one broke. So we fought it for a little bit. But she's still there. She's holding in tight. And that's how we got her home. We did kind of scar the outside of the tire where this tread comes in, but nothing too catastrophic. We didn't ruin the tire completely, but something to know: if you're going to use air shocks to lift the back of your vehicle, use a dual shear shock mount instead of these single shear post mounts for shocks. And I know a lot of vehicles have a single shear, but if you're building it, just do a double shear, 2 ears with a bolt through it, which is what I'm gonna do. But not tonight, probably, not tomorrow either. Might cruise around in a car, because let's face it, this is working right now. Just ratchet strap the bottom of the shocks where they belong, and it works. So that was the only issue the entire trip, and we'll talk about everything else here shortly. But for now, at least for me, it's bedtime. In your guys' world, it'll be back in a few seconds. So there we go. So now that we're back here after I checked in with you guys last night of getting home at like 10:30, we got our plaque. We are officially long haulers, both me and my son, and I also got a pretty killer poster of the car because I wanted to commemorate this trip with my son, and I figured, it's kind of expensive, but it's worth it to have this memory and a really good and cool poster that shows our trip on Power Tour together as father and son. So, that being said, how did the car do? You've seen in the just last clip that yes, we had one issue out of anything, and that was the single shear shock mounts had fractured or broke. Not where I welded them. The mount weld here actually flexed enough that it broke, and we got that fixed already. A lot of it's my own fault that we had a lot of weight in the back of the car. I really didn't have the rear quarters clearance for the tires, which we did roll the quarters on the tour to get us that tire clearance, but we just had too much weight in the car, a little too much pressure in the air shocks, and it just kind of fatigued those mounts and made it break. But we got it fixed. Lesson learned. We've got plenty of clearance now after rolling the fender lips, so we don't have to worry about that in the future. But that was the only issue this car had. It didn't overheat at all. It never got above 185 degrees. And once it hit 185, fans kicked on, dropped it right back to 160. The transmission I rebuilt a few weeks ago worked flawlessly. The car goes down the road dead straight when you're not in wind, but there's no wind. Let go of the wheel, just cruise. And running the interstate at 3,000 RPM is somewhere in the neighborhood of 68, 70 miles an hour. This old pig got 14 and a half miles to the gallon. And that was achieved by going back to the original jets on the primary side of the carb. So it was plenty safe. Cruising down the highway, it ran right in the pocket of 14-to-1 air fuel. So I wasn't worried about it. I could hammer on it. It wasn't as rich as I'd like to be, but it definitely wasn't unsafe going wide open throttle. So all that being said, this car did phenomenal. It was a pretty big hit. There's a couple pictures that Hot Rod got of it that I'm pretty proud to see anything I built associated with Hot Rod Magazine at all. And that's one of those things that It doesn't matter what you build. Build what you love. Show up. There's all kinds of cars. There's everything you can imagine on Power Tour. And I said this last year. It is absolutely worth it. Even if you don't have something cool, just do it. Be a part of the culture. It should be all inclusive. Hot rodding in general, automotive, is everybody is invited. Unfortunately, I did see a few guys this year that were a little too proud of what they've accomplished and wanted to make it more, exclusive as far as being a hot rodder, about how they're the best, or they do to this, or these people aren't as good as them. And that has no place in what we do. I build cars for my enjoyment. I build them for the enjoyment of others. I love sharing what I build, and I'll be the first to tell you that I'm pretty much a hack, but we just throw stuff together and hope that it works and try to do it as safely as possible, because you don't want to risk anyone else's life. It's one thing to risk your own. So, that being said, just get out there, get in the garage, work on something, build your dream car. Even if you don't have a bunch of money, just piecemeal it. You don't have to have this big, grand idea all done at once to build something that you truly love. And after 1,400 plus miles in this car, am I sick of it? Well, the short answer is, hell no. I just took it out again last night, hit up a local cruise night. I went out today for a cruise, checked out an old locomotive, and I still love driving this car. And no way am I tired of it. I love this thing so much, even though it's just an old Hulk that makes a bunch of noise and is a lot of fun. It just is what it is. So, speaking of that locomotive, if you follow me on social media, which the links are in the description, on there, on both my Facebook and Instagram, I checked out an old Fairbanks Morse diesel locomotive, did some history on it. You can see it only on those social media platforms, so go ahead and follow me on those. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go down, hit the bell icon so you know when new videos are coming out. Now that we have 2 power tours under our belts and 2 different cars, 2 different long hauler plaques, and a bunch of memories, what's next? Well, obviously, next year's power tour, maybe we go for a 3-peat and I build something else to have a long hauler plaque for 3 different vehicles. So, that being said, that'll be next year's plan, but in 3 weeks, this car will be up at the Iola Car Show in Wisconsin, which is the 2nd week of July. I could put the exact dates down here. I'll be up there. The car will be up there. We'll be hanging out. I'm camping there in my old vintage 1970 Jayco pop-up that I'm going to pull with this car to Iola. So be on the lookout for that. And I guess, until next time, remember, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. We'll see you soon.